Hello, welcome to another episode of EC&M Asks, a Q&A video series in which readers pose their most pressing electrical questions and our subject matter experts answer. I'm Tommy Northcott, Senior Power Engineer and Branch Manager with Jacobs. And today I'm going to answer a question I get asked regularly about PPE. So let's jump right in. I often get asked, when is electrical PPE needed? And what I find interesting is I've seen cases on both ends of the spectrum. People who rarely wear PPE when it is needed, and people who go way overboard on the PPE. So let's see if we can make some sense of this. It would be nice if I could say that the NFPA 70E article such and such says that you need electrical PPE in these 5 scenarios. But unfortunately, as with most things in life, there are enough potential variables involved that there really isn't that concise of an answer. There is no easy button, if you will. But there is a thought process that I think can help navigate to the correct answer. And that is my approach to all of the 70E topics. It's not simply a book of answers. Really, the 70E is a standard full of tools and information to help formalize our approach to thinking through mitigating electrical hazards. Sure, it has tables and detailed prescriptive information that definitely helps, but the real benefit is how it can help the process of getting to the right safe answer. So the first thing we need to do is recognize if there is an electrical hazard. Every task an electrical worker does should start with a hazard risk assessment. Let me back that up a little bit further. Every worker should first identify if they might be exposed to an electrical hazard. Too many workers assume that since they're not an electrician, electrical hazards do not apply to them. HVAC technicians and instrument technicians are some of the worst offenders of this misconception. Regardless of your job title or the specific task you're performing, if you are exposed to conductors rated 50 volts or higher, AC or DC, or you are operating equipment rated 208 volts or higher, then you are potentially exposed to electrical hazards and you must perform an electrical hazard risk assessment. So again, the first thing we need to do is recognize if there is an electrical hazard. Every task an electrical worker does should start with a hazard risk assessment, both for shock and for arc flash. Obviously, there are non-electrical hazards to consider as well, but I'm focused on the electrical hazards. So first, let's look at the shock hazard. You need to use shock PPE when you are within the restricted approach boundary of exposed conductors or circuit parts that are not in an electrically safe work condition. What do I mean by exposed? I'm glad you asked that question. Exposed means in its current condition, if you can touch a conductor or a circuit part with a test probe, a tool, or a finger without removing anything, then it is exposed. The restricted approach boundary is the distance found in the NFPA 70E tables 103.4 E, A, and B, and the distance is based on nominal voltage of the conductor or circuit part. Any part of your body, tool, or test probe crossing into that boundary must be insulated from the shock hazard. But how do you know if it's not in an electrically safe work condition? Another great question. To be in an electrically safe work condition, the conductor or circuit part must meet this criteria. You have to identify all the electrical sources and then open the disconnect devices to isolate those sources and visually verify that they are open. Then you must release any stored electrical energy, and you must block or release stored mechanical energy. Then you apply your lockout tagout, and then verify the absence of voltage using the live dead live method, and apply personal protective grounds when applicable. If all of these steps have been accomplished, then it is in an electrically safe work condition. If not, then you need to treat it as if it were fully energized. So that is when you need to wear shock PPE, when you are within the restricted approach boundary of exposed conductors or circuit parts that are not in an electrically safe work condition. Next, we must consider if we need arc flash PPE. The simple answer is that we need arc flash PPE when we are inside an arc flash boundary of equipment when an arc flash hazard is present. But what does that really mean? How do we determine if an arc flash hazard is present? This answer has 2 components: equipment rating and the task being performed. In most common scenarios, if the equipment is part of a 3-phase AC system, then there is a potential for an arc flash hazard. For the task, there are two scenarios where an increased potential for an arc flash hazard exists. One, there are exposed conductors that are not in an electrically safe work condition, just like the shock hazard. And two, you're starting or stopping current flow, opening or closing switches or breakers, for example. If these scenarios apply, then you should consider arc flash PPE. And the NFPA 70E also has two tables to assist in the same consideration, but I strongly recommend having an arc flash analysis performed on your facility to calculate the actual incident energy or the arc flash energy at each point where workers might be exposed to arc flash hazards, so that then they know precisely what level of arc flash PPE to wear. So I hope that helps, because that's about all the time we have for this episode. So thank you for watching. And be sure to check back in the members only section for new EC&M Asks videos being posted regularly. And be sure to send me your questions, and I'll be happy to do my best to answer them. Have a blessed day.